Imagine if you're on a date and all of a sudden the person on the other side of the table is like, I love anal. And you don't like anal. Well, dude, you're screwed. You're screwed because if it goes after that, what are you committed? Okay, maybe that was wrong. But the reality is you need to set the expectations clear at that first date.
That's right. So basically the first thing I would say is, no, I don't like that.
You're listening to The Angry Designer, where we cut through the industry bull to help frustrated graphic designers survive and thrive.
Yes, everybody. Sorry, guys. This episode is a continuation of the week before. We had so much that we had to say that we have to now actually divide this one up into 2 episodes, right? Pricing. There's so much to cover when it comes to pricing.
Important.
So important, right? Yeah. This is what can make or break a freelancer, a designer, an agency. So by all means, we had so much to cover. This episode, we're going to be covering the second half of what you missed out on the first. But we were on a roll and we were like gone for 2 weeks. So we're making up for it right now. So by all means, listen in and we hope you like what you hear.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
On to it. Other game changers over the years, okay, for zfactor, that I could definitely attest to made a big difference is, and we've talked about this before, process. When we have actually, okay, so the funny thing is, we did things, okay, customers want to know that you can do something, not just because you're whimming or you're hip shooting it or pulling it out of your ass as you're going along. They want to know that you've done it before, or 2 times or 3 times or 5 times, and you've done it well. Yeah. So when you come to them and be like, yo, we got a process for this, that adds huge value to customers.
They love that shit.
And the funny thing is, what you do is you take your process and you break it down into individual tasks. Okay. We used to have a web process, right? We always did it in-house.
Yep.
We always did it for every web project. And we charged, again, back in the old days, $5,000 for a website. $5,000, right? We had this process internally, but we never told the customer. Well, one day I was like, you know what? Fuck this.
I'm going to tell the client.
I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna tell him every step we do, and I'm gonna give it a name.
Yeah.
So now instead of doing it internally, we then were like, hey, first thing we do is we do this thing called a sitemap. Back in the day, right? We do a sitemap. This is why we do a sitemap. This is how it benefits you. Boom. Then we do these things called wireframes. This is why we do them, how we do them, blah, 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 blah. This is the value. Boom.
Yeah.
Here's the creative part. We did all this.
Yeah.
But then I decided to break it out and present it to a customer that way. And I doubled our rate. I was like, and it's $10,000.
Yes.
They didn't even blink. They were like,
loved it.
That is logical.
Yes.
I love it. I'm like, all these years, I've been doing it this way in-house just so we can do that shit internally. And now it's like, I present that.
Like, this is part of the process and I can make money on this?
Dude, it took our logo process from it took our logo costs from this to like fucking through the roof.
Yes.
Same thing. Everything that we did, we just bucketed it, turned it into a process and presented that process.
Yes.
Do you know, I even charged customers $1,500 to install Google Analytics. Because it was a process. I took the fucking, okay, it sounds scammy, but hear me out. Early days. But what we did is like, okay, well, every time we launched a website, we always installed Google Analytics, right? Plus, we also did on-site SEO. We did their page titles. We made sure everything on the site was done properly, right? So then we're like, you know what? I'm not including this for free. For $1,500, I'm going to install Google Analytics, put robot.txt files in there, and I'm going to do all the on-site page stuff. For $1,500, here's the huge value to customers. Yes.
I'll do
so
that.
all of a sudden it goes from 10 to an extra 11.5. So now it's 11.5. This was legit. I broke down our existing processes, presented it with as value. Yeah. And customers 100% saw the value. They just needed to see it.
Yeah, exactly. This is what goes into this type of project, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not a fly by night. We're not winging it.
Yes, we're not hip shooting.
We're not hip shooting.
You're dealing with a company that has done this time and time.
This is exactly it. Have a look at all the other websites we've done. See how they're doing, and yes, this is the kind.
I don't want to say that it's smoke and mirrors, but the reality is, you got to present your knowledge.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to be like, this is what we do.
Yes.
Boom. right? Look at it in all its glory. It's like opening up your robe, opening up your kimono, and realizing it's a very cold day and you're turtling. Turtle.
I just got out of the pool.
Whoa, it's cold. There's a breeze. All right. So needless to say,
I love it. That's
another
awesome.
huge game changer. So retainers, game changer. This process thing, game changer. Okay.
Yep.
When quoting jobs, right, we started separating all the different components of a job and quoted them accordingly. So in line with the whole bucketing things and everything, right, like bucketing all the processes, we started breaking down what's involved at every stage.
Yeah.
And not only did that help us when we had to start quoting things out, but then when we presented to the customer, it made more value to. And what I mean by this, Sean, is it's like an ad. You take an ad, right? Okay, we need an ad. Okay, fine. How much are you going to charge for an ad? $150. Okay, fine. Let's break down what's involved with an ad, right? Let's first off, you have to come up with the concept.
Yep.
Okay, first and foremost,
Creative,
right?
yep.
So the creative concept. You're going to need a copywriter, right? Granted, you might do it yourself, but you need a copywriter.
Right.
That's 2 hours of your time as a copywriter, right? You need, like all of a sudden production of that.
Work.
It has to be prepped for production.
Yep.
That's an extra X amount of time, right?
Yep.
So all of a sudden, this ad that you initially charged $150 for is now worth $600.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to include it all in the beginning stages, but when you break it down to the customer, you're like, dude, I need to get all the copy written properly. We got to make sure it works. We have to make sure it's 100% ready for production.
Yep.
Okay. And we have to also make sure that the creative's spot on, right? So when we started doing that for bigger and bigger projects, you started realizing that, holy shit, copy that we used to include is actually worth like $8,000.
It's worth a lot. Yes,
right?
exactly.
Coding,
yes,
right, which we used to just take for granted because we used to roll it in, was worth like another 10 grand worth of stuff. And then creative.
Wow.
So all of a sudden you realize that this website that you're like giving away for like $8,000, the value is over 30 grand.
Yes, there's a lot that goes into
There's a lot that goes into it. And it doesn't, you might do 2/3 of it yourself because of who you are,
right?
But you're selling yourself short. And that's what we were doing. We started separating all the components of the job and started billing them as part of the job.
Yes.
Right? And huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference in what, and again, people couldn't argue it. They couldn't argue it. What were they going to say? Well, can we pull back that copywriting a little bit?
Just don't worry about the code part.
Right.
Yeah, just
who's
going to
do it? You're not going to tell me who's going to do it.
Yeah, okay, I'll do it myself, I guess.
Yeah.
But you're going to suffer.
Right. So this works into this benefits, obviously, this benefited us. Number one, obviously quoting for jobs, money-wise benefited. But then number two, more importantly, this helped us realize the value of what we were providing.
we put in.
And this isn't going back to our value-based pricing. This is like, wow, the service that we're providing, the deliverable, requires all these different skill sets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Throw
in the fact that sometimes they're like, oh, we need a brand. We need a new logo on top of it all.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me bring in the logo designer. Let me bring in the brands manager,
Yeah,
the
the copywriter
our brand
comes in.
strategist, right? And then the copywriter will work on the messaging for your, all of a sudden, that's another 20 grand.
There you go.
But it's true. It's like, this is how it's like, you have to value what you do as a designer. And creatives aren't great at this.
Nope.
So once you start breaking this shit out, all of a sudden it started putting me more of in a business mindset. And that's where it was just like incredible. And the funny thing is, customers, if you broke it down like this, it was hard for them to argue.
Yeah.
And they were happy to pay for it.
Yes.
Right? Huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And again, it's the whole process behind things that is so important.
So it's like, as creatives, you want the job and you're unsure of the price you're giving. So as soon as they start giving you any sort of like hesitation, you're like, okay, I'll give you a discount. I'll give you a discount. Or if the customer's like, oh, no, you're like, okay, I'll help you out. You know what? My price is only flex. Dude, on so many levels, it's like wrong. And I mean, not only does it show inexperience and insecurity about your pricing, but then, you're not valuing
what you're worth.
Exactly. And customers know that.
Yes.
And the evil customers will eat that shit up.
Totally
Dude,
consume you.
Oh, I hate those evil customers that are, they're it's business. It's all about the wrong. That's bullshit. Some people say that, it's like that's a sign of a good negotiation. No, it's a bad negotiation. A good negotiation when both parties leave happy.
Yes.
Right. And this is where, so honestly, that's another whole topic altogether. But honestly, we stopped discounting prices. And the thing is, if in fact customers had a budget that they had to work within, okay, all we did is like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll work with your budget, but I'm not discounting. I'm just going to pull back what we're delivering. So it's like all of a sudden customer comes to you and they're like, I need a 10-page website and I need to do this. And and you're like, but how much?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what's your budget? How much? Okay, fine. All said and done, 10 grand.
10 grand. Yeah.
Oh,
wait.
I only have 5.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You're going to have to come down. You know what? Hey, 5, no problem. You're not getting 10 pages, but I'll give you 3 really good fucking pages.
I'll give you $5,000 worth of work.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. The reality is you're not discounting
Yes.
your worth.
Right.
You're discounting the size of the job. You're bringing it down.
Yeah.
That's the key to fucking, number one, keeping your own self-worth, but then
is
especially in the customer's mind.
Yeah.
Right. Because again, the value you bring isn't just in the final outcome, but it's like process. So again, the first $3,000 of that website project is me planning.
Yes.
So for $2,000, you're getting 3 pages. Done deal. And that's the truth, right? Like you have to stop discounting prices because again, that you'll never be able to raise your rates with the customer.
Yeah.
You start low, you will end low.
Always. Low, yeah.
Try, right?
Exactly.
Like no, you can't do that with a customer. So the reality is for us, it was a huge difference when we were like, you know what, these are our rates. But if you have a budget, we will work hard to figure out the best project that'll fit within your budget.
Right.
But don't think you're getting the full 10,000, caboodle for $5,000.
Exactly.
That's bullshit.
That's just stupid. It's a business just as well as what he's running.
Right.
So like,
so
come
what
on,
is that?
guy.
You know what? Honestly, and on all the times, like this. No, you cannot do this on so many levels.
Yeah.
It is better to walk away from the job than to discount your rates once you set a rate. Because you know what? Not only for that one customer, who gives a fuck about that one customer, but for your own sake.
Yeah,
that is going to play mind fuck with you,
exactly.
right? It's going to fuck with your mind so much. You're going to be like, I'm not worth that.
Yes.
I'm not worth that.
Yeah.
And, obviously my rates are too high, so I better go less and less. And
then
no.
I'm charging everybody too much money. And it's like,
no.
No.
Bad.
Yeah.
And it just starts you down the wrong road. So honestly, we stopped discounting prices.
Yeah.
And what we started doing is downsizing the projects. Right. That's all. So that's all you got to do. Don't discount. Downsize.
Yeah, you still put your expertise into it.
You're fucking worth your rate.
Yeah, exactly.
But if they only have $5,000 worth of work, you give them $5,000 worth of work, right? Give them 100%. It might not be as big as you wanted, but then all of a sudden your job also got dropped down to half. So give them that, right?
Yeah.
And last but not least, the biggest game changer. Okay, we stopped accepting jobs as they were, and we started diagnosing the requests as they came in. Okay. So this is kind of weird. It's a weird, but again, being an order taker doesn't help anybody.
That's no good.
Okay. It doesn't help anybody. What we started doing is we started asking a lot more fucking questions. And when a customer would come to us, right? Hey, I need a quote for a website, blah, blah, or whether the lead came in from the website, we're like, hey, let's set up a meeting. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Then we started asking questions. Oh, you need a website. That's good. What makes you think you need a website, right? Oh, our website's not performing. It's not doing well. We're not sure what's going on. So we need a new website because I'm performing, right? A lot of people would be like, thanks for that job. Yeah. I'll design you another website. Done. Right? Done. I got a $10,000 project. Done. Yes. Right? Yeah.
I'm buying a car.
You have no idea the damage you just did to yourself here.
That's bad news.
It is.
Why?
What we started doing is we started we started asking a hell of a lot more fucking questions. Being annoying as hell. We started asking about their business, their competitors, why they felt they needed a new website, what the issues was, more times than not. Okay. And I stress this more times than not. When a customer would come to us and say, we need a new website because this one's not performing, or we need a new website for more leads, this, that. The problem wasn't with their existing website, but it was with their brand, right? So what we started doing is in diagnosing, we're like, hey, listen, I can give you a new website.
Yeah.
But my professional experience, from everything I've done, my opinion, the problem is over here. Your brand is saying this. People are coming because they think that you're this. Yeah. But when they get to your website, it says this.
Completely different, yes.
It's completely different. Right. Do you realize this is going on? They're like, I never really thought about that. They're too close to the fucking thing, right? If you don't start diagnosing the issues at hand, you're leaving so much shit on the table, and you're never going to elevate yourself from being an order taker.
This is true.
I do not want to be that fucking order taker, right? Ever.
Nope.
Right? And we want to diagnose those. You don't fucking go to a doctor and be like, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling very good. I'm pretty sure I need it, appendicitis.
Yeah. Oh, we got to
the
cut
pain
you
is
open
right here.
now.
So if you're gonna cut it open, cut it this way. You don't pull that shit. Right?
Nobody tells a doctor what to do.
You go to them because they're professional. You tell them the problems, right? And they tell you what they think based on their experience, right? Customers, the same thing. Customer doesn't realize it's the same. I mean, kind of, it is the exact same situation.
It really is, isn't it?
It's sad. It's true though, right? Like honestly, if you're the problem solver, if you're the business solver, then all of a sudden you're elevating your own worth from being just like a graphic designer or even a designer to like more like a business designer.
Yeah.
You're integrating
I like
yourself. You're integrating yourself into their company. And I can honestly tell you, dude, this has probably won us more retainer work than anything else because all of a sudden it's like the simple little job that they asked us has now expanded into something much bigger. Right. And this doesn't have to just go with something, a big meaty project like a website. It can start off with small shit like ads. Yeah. What is it that you're trying to accomplish with this ad? Yeah. Oh, well, we need an ad because, our signups are low. Signups are low. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I can help you with an ad. Right. But you're also paying for ad space and this and that and ongoing. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? What if we were to develop an ad that drove people to a form, that drove people to this? All of a sudden you started building out a bigger program. Right. You're charging for that, right? And again, this is how you grow your worth, confidence for yourself, worth in the customer's eyes, and this is how you build a bigger business.
Yes,
this was a huge fucking game changer for us.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude, this was like huge.
Yeah, this is, and it's not necessarily an upsell, but it's like I've noticed these problems, these issues that you're having, and this could be fixed by X or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely,
it's an organic way of kind of expanding.
Well, and it's legit, right? You're not trying to screw.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And that's it. You're not trying to screw them for every penny that they have. You're trying to genuinely solve their problems.
That's right.
These are the best relationships to have in business because then they learn to rely on you. Yeah. You rely on them. All of a sudden, this reciprocal relationship lasts for years. And it's like, not one project, but it's ongoing projects. It's retainer. It's like referrals. These are the customers that you want. Dude, there's so much.
That's true. Yeah.
So huge. And probably the biggest game changer was diagnosing problems. Yeah. Honestly, we didn't take things at face value. We did lose one customer once. They thought that we were being too pushy. They were like, no. You know what? We just want a website. When I'm like, dude, there's more problems here than not. No. Website. That's all we want.
Just give us the website.
Just give us the website. I'm like, no, you know what? We're going to pass. Oh. And we passed. We didn't get the job. Actually, we didn't pass. He didn't go with us.
Oh, we did.
He said we were pushy. But the funny thing is, 6 months later, the dude was gone. They were out of business. They were done. Shit. So it's like, although they were saying that, we were being too pushy, the reality is we saw the problems. Yes. Right? We saw the problems. Thank God we didn't take the job because we would have lost money on that. Yeah, because again, granted, 6 months, we probably could have got the website out in like 2-3 months. But the reality is, if they were having problems that made them shut down, that there was going to be no payment at the end of that project. Right? We would have been stuck with the bill for this, that. So you know what? Good. Go. Yeah. Good. I don't want to diagnose your shit, right? Go shut down. Go somewhere else.
Well, there's clearly more problems than you could probably figure out.
Honestly, dude.
Just from their,
but asking the right questions, digging deep helps you realize that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, exactly. Dude, that's the best thing ever. Totally. I can't recommend that. And you know what? That's how we future-proof our word, ourself, what we can do in the long term. Yeah. If all we're doing is taking orders and just delivering graphics, delivering this, sure enough, one way or another, we will be replaced. Yep. Right? Because there's going to be ways that, whether it's through shit like Canva or automated Canva, or people are just going to grab it and add it to their checkout cart and run an ad automatically. This shit could happen. Yep. But what it can't happen is it can't ask all those questions designers are supposed to ask.
This is true.
We're supposed to connect all those dots. Yeah. Right? And if you're not willing to ask all those questions that you need to ask, well, you know what? Your future is going to be limited. It absolutely will.
This is true. Yeah, you're right. You have to be vigilant and dig deep into the problems.
I think so.
That these clients have. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
so those
good.
are the biggest game changers for us.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Totally.
I mean, again, and there might be a whole bunch of other things. There might be some business practices that I think could help us out long-term wise, but, embrace a couple of those. And I think that you'll find some pretty quick return on your effort on these things.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Has this ever backfired? Any of these processes ever backfired on you?
Have they ever backfired on me? Well, I think they backfired in the sense that when we didn't understand what we were doing, when we were trying to implement these, right? So like that one guy who didn't accept a job saying we're too pushy. Fine. You know what? You can consider that being a backfire in that sense. It kind of dodged a bullet.
That's more of a dodge a bullet.
That one. But like things like separating the jobs and the things that brought us, I wouldn't say that they backfired, but I mean, sometimes it was maybe a little too early. For some things, right, and I mean that's where the inexperience or the confidence takes in. I just had an awesome conversation with a graphic designer out from Atlanta. The dude was awesome. He was such a fantastic fucking guy.
Atlanta,
and then we were talking, and we were like, talking about pricing in general. And he's like, you know what? He's like, how I raise my rates. I just added a zero. I added a zero, and I wanted to see how what was going to stick, and it worked for him.
Really?
It was ridiculous, right?
Wow.
And while I would never prescribe to anybody to just add a zero, the reality is sometimes it's a matter of trial and error.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of the errors are the things that I guess people don't realize, right? The trial is okay. If I can try whatever, throw whatever shit sticks at the wall, right? But I mean, like mistakes. Pricing mistakes or things to avoid, right? Again, one of the main things, main things like to avoid is not knowing if you're profitable or not, okay? And that goes back to not knowing what your costs are, right? You need to figure out what your minimum costs have to be.
Right.
In order. So if you're a freelancer, okay, and you're living at home, then fine. Fuck, you know what? My advice before about like doubling,
the minimum wage,
doubling minimum wage, and then adding $3 to $5 for every year based on your area.
Service.
Okay, you're living at home, you have no expenses. Do that. That works great. But if you're living on your own and you have a child, you're on your own, young couple, child, single child, whatever, right? You've got so much money you need to absolutely make, right? If you just take my formula, it might not work for you straight off the bat, right? You might need to be like, I need an extra $20 an hour. I might need an extra $30 an hour, right? Because you have to factor in all these costs. So you don't have to obsess over this, but you need to at least do it once a month, once every 6 months, once a year to make sure you're actually not losing money. Because again, I told you the story about the agency that they were making a shitload of money, and yet they were still like minus
in the hole.
50 grand fucking in the hole.
240 grand making.
250 and minus 40, right?
Like, holy,
how does that happen? But it does happen, when you don't realize that you're basically working to burn money. Right? So again, big mistake first and foremost, knowing where, if you're not profitable, where that fucking minimum threshold is, okay? Big mistake number two. Okay. Mistake number two. Okay. These aren't the game changers, they're mistakes, right? Charging every customer the same. Okay. You think maybe ethically, this is what you should be doing. These are my rates. But the reality is the world doesn't work like that. Okay. If a company like fucking, Best Buy is to come to your door tomorrow and be like, hey, I need a logo for promotion that we're doing next week. And, I'm going to rush it out to like 500 stores, but I need it within 7 days. You're like, okay, well, no problem. This, that. Okay. It's going to be like $800. They're going to be like, what? What is this worth that you're getting? Like, what? I wouldn't pay $800. $8,000 is where it needs to be.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
I had a friend who was this fucking amazing personal trainer. Okay. He was fucking jacked. He was intelligent. He had all this education backing him, right? Yeah. He did professional athletes.
Yeah.
And he did amateur athletes. And I was like, wow, dude, what's the difference? And I'm like, what's the difference between like what you're doing for this girl who's 13 years old and wants to be a huge figure skater and this professional figure skater who's in the Olympics and this and that? And he's like, price. That's the difference. I do the exact same fucking thing. But he's like, you know what? He's like, this professional Olympian athlete does not want to pay $80 an hour for a professional trainer. They're not going to value it the same. They want to pay $200-$300 an hour to feel they're getting their worth.
To feel they're getting their
right?
worth. Oh.
You can't feel bad for charging customers, having a sliding scale based on what, and again, this comes down to asking questions.
Right.
You have to ask questions, right? Like, how big is your company? What do you do? If it's a local shop, damn right, you're paying small rates.
Yeah.
But if they're like 5 locations and, like $3 million a year, in this and that and this and that, 100 employees, dude, they can obviously pay more than just this little like shop. And it's not that they can, it's they expect to. Right? They put a different value. I hired a personal trainer a little while ago, and he charged me bigger rates, but the service was like the opposite. So I was like, dude, I was expecting these bigger rates, and I got the smaller service, the kind of thing. So it's all relative, right? You need to be able to, get what you're paying out of that. You need that value back, right? So the bigger the customer, the more they expect to pay for something, and they're okay because they value that service more, right? So this is a huge mistake, huge mistake, right? Not all the customers have to pay the same rate, and don't feel guilty about that. Don't feel
really
guilty about that, right?
That's true. That's a great story because, like, this guy, who's the personal trainer who's training the figure skater and then the little kid, his skill set is the same,
exactly the same.
So this is,
but he said the expectation of just the payment was different. The expectation of the service was the same.
Right, exactly.
Right? And he's not going to cheat that 13-year-old who wants to be an Olympian. And he's going to be the exact same fucking guy. But at the other end, I'm going to be like, dude, what? I'm like an Olympian, and I'm gonna get a trainer for $80 an hour. Fuck that. I'm gonna find somebody who's gonna charge me $3,000 an hour.
Because that's what I need in this scenario.
It's stupid, right?
I know. Yeah,
it's
you're
that value, right? It's that value part, and you have to almost play that out. So don't feel guilty by you don't have to charge customers. You have to bill accordingly to their scale, right? And again, it just. Think of the big shops, right? A small local coffee shop would expect to pay less than like a giant franchise. So don't feel guilty if the giant franchise, you're charging them 5 times the price. You can't feel guilty about that, right?
Yeah.
So that's number 2. Big pricing mistake there, right? Number 3, not valuing or charging for your expertise, okay? So this is what we talked about before, right? So if you're in a niche, right, charge for being in a niche. Okay. If you know a lot about a specific topic, charge a premium for that topic. Okay. If you're a fucking foodie, if you have Instagram experience or whatever, don't be scared to charge a premium for that. Dude, if you're really, really, really fast at what you do, don't punish yourself.
Yes.
Enjoy that, right? If everybody else would take 6 hours to do what I can do in 2, I'm not going to like only charge 2, charge 6. You need to charge for what you're worth. Your value. Like, don't feel guilty for being able, and honestly, even if it's just 1 hour at a time or 2 hours at a time to get that comfort factor in place, right? If you can accomplish what other agencies do in a half fraction of time, don't charge half as much money. Because you're not doing yourself any favors.
That's not good.
Dude,
that's not good.
That was a huge thing. And I won't cross that line anymore. I won't.
Yes, exactly.
Just because we can do something in 3 hours. Doesn't mean we will.
Doesn't mean we will, exactly.
Or it doesn't mean we're going to charge for it.
I remember when I was here, I sent out a job like after like an hour or something when it came in. You were like, no, don't do that. Send it out later because...
I gave you shit.
Yes, you did.
I gave you shit. I'm like, Sean,
it's just like, no,
the customer asked for it. To him, it was a 5-hour job and you sent it in 1 hour.
It's like...
He's now not going to pay that.
How can I bill for that?
It's so true because again, you're exceptionally fast at what you do.
I was quick. I did it right.
We've solved every fucking problem in the world. We know how to do it in an hour.
But you can't tip your hand.
No, you can't do that shit, right? Fuck, I still get angry when I think about that. Why'd you have to bring that up?
I know. I should never.
Podcast is over.
I'm out. Oh my God. Yeah.
But it's true.
But
it's
absolutely. And I remembered that. It was just like, so now everything goes out 3 or 4 hours later.
Even if, because again, you've gotten to that part. Early. Value the fact that you are now superhuman fucking graphic designer.
Yes.
And you can do shit that is like a fraction of the time of what it takes other people because you've got that skill set to do.
Yes.
So don't punish us all for it.
Exactly.
And don't punish yourself for it, right?
Yeah.
Big mistake. Huge fucking mistake, dude. Not talking about money up front. And I hate to say this.
This is the worst.
This is an uncomfortable talk. It is. You meet a customer for the first time. You know what? It's like going on a date for the first time.
Oh, it is.
And you pretend that you're into something and you're not. Right? Imagine if you're on a date and all of a sudden the person on the other side of the table is like, I love anal. And you don't like anal? Well, dude, you're screwed. You're screwed because if it goes after that, what are you committed? Okay, maybe that was wrong. But the reality is you need to set the expectations clear at that first date.
That's right. So basically the first thing I would say is, no, I don't like that.
Darn. I'm kidding. But I mean, the truth of the matter is,
you're right.
You need to set the expectations clear.
Exactly.
Right? And pricing is a huge fucking part of this. It's the most, it is the most uncomfortable thing. But let me ask you something. Wouldn't you rather get rid of this uncomfortable experience first date?
Right off the bat,
the fucking fifth date, where you're like, you know what? Let me learn more about your company. Let me come to this.
Yeah.
Let me meet your fucking family. Let me do this, and then all of a sudden you're like, guess what? This is my rate, and they're like, wow, we are so fucking apart. This is done, dude. It's uncomfortable as hell. But you know what? Number one, it makes you realize what the customer values your time at.
Yes.
Okay. Right off the bat.
Yep.
You don't have to give them a price right off the bat. You don't have to commit to price off the bat. Yep. But if you go talk to somebody for a very, very first time and you start talking about a website, they need a new website, blah, 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 blah. And I use website example because this one's generally a bigger number.
Yeah.
People aren't comfortable with this. And it's like, okay, I asked you all the questions I need to, and based on my experience, right, I've already formulated a price in my mind, and you just casually throw numbers out there. You're like, well, you know what? It's really early to tell, but in the past, for what you're asking me now, we have billed customers between $20,000, $22,000, $20,000, $25,000 for what you're asking.
Right.
I can't commit to that because we haven't done the right research. But this is an idea of the range we're going to be.
Right.
I know this isn't a $10,000 website,
but
I also know it's not a $50,000 website.
Yes, exactly.
But it is between 20 and 23, 25.
Right.
Okay. How do you feel about that? If they're all of a sudden like, holy shit, you know what? No. I was nowhere near that. I'm thinking $5,000.
Yeah. And then
done.
Okay. We're going to let's finish our drinks.
Right.
And
You're like, you know what?
Now.
I can't. Either you can try to come somewhere in the middle and come to that never discount.
Yeah.
Maybe come to somewhere downsize if they like everything else you've done up at that point.
Right.
Or you can be a gentleman or an awesome woman. What is the opposite of gentleman for women? Gentleman, gentlewoman?
Gentlewoman. I would think that would work.
Huh.
Lady?
I don't know. That's weird. There's not like that.
Right.
Respectful. Oh, that's a funny one, right? Anyway, regardless. Another podcast altogether and a different podcast show altogether. Regardless, what I'm saying is,
Sean and Moss talk about women.
Yeah,
that's coming.
How about this? You can be classy and be like, you can be classy and be like, you know what? I can make some recommendations for you. Let me refer some people to you.
Put
right?
you somebody who will do
that's
this,
a big thing. Is like, you're getting that shit out of the way with the front. You're not committing.
Yeah.
But you're making sure they know your range. You know their range, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing that I think people. They don't do themselves any favor by holding it off. And it sucks. I have done this in the past. I remember going down a project and like scoping it out and this, and I wanted this project so bad.
You get excited about it.
And I gave him the price. And at this point, he wanted to look like a big shot. So during the meeting, he was like, yeah, of course, I can afford that. And then after that meeting, he never took my call again.
Oh, no.
A fucking guy. Oh, I know. That was such a slap in the face.
So basically, get that shit out of the
I said, get that shit out right from the start.
Yeah.
So at least that's that uncomfortable talk that you have to have.
Yes,
Eat that frog.
Yeah.
Right? Eat that frog.
There we go.
And then move on from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. We already talked about this one. Never discount.
Never.
Absolutely.
Never.
Pricing discount. Never fucking discount. Ever. Don't ever do that. Because again, you will never, ever get the opportunity to raise your rates, right? And that's what people need to realize. No matter what they tell you.
Yeah. Because you come out of the gate cheap.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep coming back to you because you're cheap.
Because you're cheap.
Right?
Exactly.
Don't ever think you can charge customers more. If they don't value what you do, you will never, ever get another dime out of them unless you swindle it out of them. And you don't want to go down that road, right?
Yeah.
So fuck it. Keep your pride. Walk away if you have to. And do that, right?
Yep.
Not charging enough. Big mistake. So not the same.
Yes.
But different.
Yes.
Right? So this kind of goes back to, like you almost always, okay, so as a designer, right, because we're so uncomfortable with pricing, we give ourselves a range.
Yes.
I guarantee you, more times than not, designers will price the lower side of that range. They won't go to the higher side.
They won't, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, big mistake is not charging enough. Like, you need to charge more than you're comfortable with.
Right.
If you're like, I'm okay with $5,000, then you know what? 6.
6 is what it is. Yeah.
I would be happy if I got 10. Fine,
Yeah.
10.5.
Yeah.
Right? 10.5. Fuck it. Like, that's not going to break the deal, but you need to start becoming uncomfortable, a little bit more uncomfortable with that. So this way, it's like, it's not even an issue anymore.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about, you can't worry about people charging less than you. A lot of times they're like, oh shit, I want this job, but
Somebody
next
else
door, they're going to charge it lesser
Yeah,
or
they're
this
going
or
to
that.
undercut me and I'm going to lose it. I really want this job.
Fuck it. They can go to Fiverr. They can get this for like cheaper on Fiverr. There's some good designers on Fiverr. I see their fake portfolio shit all the time, and it looks really good.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Number one, it's all fake. So fuck them. Show me the real work that you actually got paid for, and you know what?
Yeah.
It looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you to do a friggin' easy website, and then they're going to be like, oh, it doesn't fit what
exactly.
what's cool nowadays.
Yeah, right. Or, people in my community charge less,
Yeah.
and this and that.
Yeah.
Like, people are always, we're always on the less range
Right.
of where we are, where we need to, and again, we started pushing to the more.
Yes.
You need to push to the more. And honestly, it's like, you can't think of your prices, you're giving your price to be competitive.
Right.
That's not what this is about, right? They're meant to reflect where you are right now in your life, in your career, right? And the value that you can now provide to your customers based on your experience.
Right.
Don't worry about the fucking guy in Fiverr.
Don't
worry about your fucking neighbor or this or that.
Is it a confidence thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Well, again, confidence in the sense of it comes back to pricing and why we suck at pricing.
Right.
Because it's like we're playing with so many different things. Confidence, you might know that you're, great, but you might feel guilty. You might really want that job.
Yeah.
But the reality is you don't know your self-worth. I don't know if that's the same as being self-confident or, like not thinking. It's just, you just don't know your worth.
You just don't know your worth. Exactly.
Right? And I mean, again, you are fucking amazing. High-paying clients are looking for you.
Yeah.
They are. People who are willing to pay for you, right? You're not fucking some dude on a factory line crunching out shit on a regular basis, right?
Yes, man.
Right. And so don't run the business like that.
Right.
Right? If people want that, go to Fiverr and get that shitty ass logo for $100, right? Like don't waste our time and don't fall to that, right?
Yes. Awesome. Right.
So that one, another big one, okay? Price anchoring.
Oh.
Okay. So this might actually maybe I should have mentioned this before in not as so much a mistake, but maybe this was a game changer for us. Okay. But the thing is, price anchoring was a game changer for our business for sure. And I mean, it's legit, so, when you price something, make sure you follow price anchoring. What price anchoring is like, think of it this way. There's a saying that says, how do you sell a $2,000 watch? Right?
Yeah. Okay.
You put it beside a $10,000 watch. Okay. All of a sudden, it's like, well, shit. That $2,000 watch is
really nice.
Such a bargain compared to that fucking $10,000. Who wants that, right? Price anchoring is like giving a couple different prices.
Yeah.
Okay. And putting different values on those prices.
I love.
Right?
Are you talking like a package form?
Well, kind of, right? Be like, hey, you know what? You start at price. First, we start $200 for a price, right? You start at your middle price, okay?
Right.
And then you're like, oh, but you know what? For $200, you get this. But for $500,
yes,
you get this.
Yes.
But then for $100, you get this.
There's this.
Right? And so what you're doing is you packaging. You're giving them options to make them be like, oh, fuck, there's no way I should go with the cheapest option. Okay?
Yeah.
That expensive one might be more than what I want to do.
Right.
So this one in the middle is good.
Yeah.
Okay? But what it does, it kind of gives them this whole idea of like, what's really cheap, what's really valuable, and where they can kind of fit it in with themselves. So we always provide 3 price packages, right?
Yeah.
We always, again, kind of like we talked before, right? You've got the full website with SEO, with the content management system, with like monitoring and this and that for 3 months, or You get their website launched, awesome quality, but you do everything else thereafter.
But you do on your,
right?
on your end.
And it's like all of a sudden it's just like, oh shit, but you know what? I could really use that help with this. I could really set, that's the idea. The idea is that the item is perceived as cheap or as expensive compared to the other things.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So the $2,000 watch on its own is a really expensive thing.
Yeah.
Compared to the $10,000 watch, it's fucking bargain.
Yeah.
But compared to a Swatch, it's like, dude, why would I look at a Swatch?
Yeah.
I deserve a $2,000 watch. I'm not pretentious enough for it. And they start making excuses for the really, really crazy side. So this this was the best thing. So, this should have been maybe before for a difference for zfactor.
No, I think this is perfect here.
But what I mean is that this allowed us to comfortably see where customers wanted to pay. Okay. So this is why I'm saying this is a game changer, a mistake.
Yeah.
The mistake is not doing this. Okay. But the game changer for zfactor.
Yeah.
We were able, throughout my career, I was able to be like, you know what? I offered them 3 prices.
Yeah.
A dirt, basic, cheap price, out the door, what you want, here it is.
Yeah.
Here's the next level up, and here's the fucking
the
big
Cadillac.
kit and caboodle, everything.
The whole
More
9
times
yards.
than not, they went with the middle package because the one was maybe too outrageous.
Too much.
But
Yeah.
we got some at the outrageous price. And that was the cool thing. And it was just like, damn, it can, and you can fixate on that and grow that.
Yeah.
But the reality is like what they asked was the cheapest price. I always added more for the middle price.
Yeah.
And the big price was like,
just like unattainable.
it was
almost.
unattainable.
Yeah,
And if you got it, it was just like,
Oh yeah. It's like, okay, but you're prepared to do that.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
That's the
Right.
beauty
And I
of
made
that.
sure that there was enough padding in there to cover it.
Yes.
So whatever pricing you make, price anchor a low, a medium, and a high option. Okay. And this is the mistake. People don't. They give one price.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
that's the mistake.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is make sure you price anchor. Make sure you give 3 different prices, a low, a middle, a high, not for the quality, but for everything else you add to it. So kind of like you were saying, like the whole package deal.
The whole package thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
In that sense. That's where price anchoring could have been moved up before or not. But yeah.
That's brilliant. And I used to do that freelance when.
Did you, eh? Good.
Yeah, a buddy of mine.
Good.
This was before I even worked here.
Oh, blasphemy.
Yeah. If we were pitching websites, it was like, well, you get this, and then the whole branding package plus the website.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the complete upsell.
Exactly.
So it only worked once.
But then I snagged you and made you work here.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that's a brilliant way to do that. It's like
Absolutely
you're
it is.
you're right. That shitty watch next, or that good watch next to that really great watch
is a bargain, man.
Makes that that good watch look pretty
Absolutely.
good. Right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think honestly, the biggest mistake that designers, freelancers, whoever, biggest mistake they make is that they forget above all, this is a fucking business. And this sounds shitty. It's like a duh. But the reality is it is a duh.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you can't do this just because you like to. You can't do this because it's a hobby.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make a living out of this, you have to think of it like a fucking business.
Yeah.
And if you discount people, then you can't make a living out of this.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're charging ridiculous rates and not offering enough value for that, well, then you're gonna fucking fall, right? This is a business.
Yeah.
This needs to be attainable. This needs to be sustainable.
Yes.
Right? And you have to think that way.
Yeah.
So if somebody all of a sudden, even if somebody throws you a lowball figure, you're just like, yeah, sure. And when I go to the grocery store and try this with them and say, I only want to spend $60 on $100 worth of groceries, what are they going to fucking tell me?
They're going to say, fuck you.
Exactly. And I would add that to that customer. Fuck you. Because again, they're not respecting, so, hey, you know what? You want me to fucking create a restaurant logo or a logo for your restaurant, but only charge you 1/10 the price? Give me 9/10 of the price in free food on an ongoing basis, fucker. Like, and see how they like that. Like, that shit doesn't work.
I love that. That's,
Well, again,
it's so true. But that's exactly
It is true.
Yes, yeah. And so how hard is it to walk away from something like that?
Dude, it's hard as fuck
Yes.
to walk away because you sit there and keep thinking, because we're thinking in the here and now.
Right.
And it is really hard the here and now. It's like, man, I could have had $1,000 in my hand.
Yes.
But the reality is you wouldn't have had, you would have had to
Even
work
out-
$3,000 worth of
worth
work.
of time to do this.
For $1,000. You know, my
Right.
father, I fucking love my father more than anything. And, you know, but he was just a hard motherfucking worker his whole life,
Yep.
right? He worked hard jobs. He's the hardest person I know, right? So he doesn't get it. He's like, well, who cares? Work 4 times as much for that money. I'm like, but then you're really only working for 4 times less money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I would rather...
You're screwing yourself.
I would always say, if I'm not making money on something,
Yeah.
I'd much rather sit in front of a fucking TV and watch
Do
the
nothing.
Batman, right? Like, seriously, I might as well be fucking learning how to make myself better.
Yes.
Instead of fucking, working for free for some other motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I've become
that's-
so bitter to that.
Yeah, but that's absolutely true.
So bitter.
And his value was amazing, like what he was doing.
Still is.
This
Hard
is the kind of
work.
employee you want that would
Yes.
give 4
Yes.
times worth.
And it
these-
wasn't until he retired, and then he was brought back out of retirement, and they paid him
And there was
8 times his worth. But it took him to be retired because nobody else could do what he did. So then he was like, he came out of retirement. He's like, dude, I'm making the same kind of money as doctors are. And for him, that was a huge
was a
fucking
big
deal.
deal, yeah.
Because again, here comes somebody from, English wasn't his first language.
Yeah.
He never had education past grade 2,
Yeah.
right? So he's like, I'm now making what doctors make.
doctors
So
make.
yeah, I will.
This is pretty
I'm
good.
young.
Yeah.
Because he was 50.
Yeah.
At the same time, my dad retired at 48.
Oh, wow.
So even though, I know, right?
Jesus.
Crazy. But again, he retired, my parents lived very humble, very modest. Everything was paid off, whatever, right? Good
Yep.
old school Europeans.
Yep.
But he's like, I'm 50. I will come out of retirement because now I'm making money like a doctor. So to him, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it's like hard to express to people like my father, where,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. Like, you can't all of a sudden take a job 1 quarter your rate,
Yeah.
because it's money, and that's the hurtful part, right? You turn away a job, you walk away from a job, you're like, fuck, I could have used that $1,000, but in order to make that $1,000, you would have had to work $4,000 worth of
work
value
to
work
get that.
hours to get that.
Yeah.
You know what? You're better off spending that time.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to excel yourself and move yourself forward.
Yeah.
And then from there, you'll see that money's it's gonna come. It does come.
Yeah.
You just can't get caught up in the day to day. You have to have a long-term picture. I hate to say it.
And you have to be a little choosy, I think, at this point.
Well, you do.
Sometimes
it's hard.
Yeah,
but
this is the thing. Exactly. And it's exactly like you said, back to the original point of the first date thing. Like, you discuss that money at the outset. Make sure that's the priority, right?
Right.
Because you don't want to be invested in this kind of thing with a tightwad.
So
who's-
true.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
true.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, there was a lot of shit, right? Honestly, this industry we're in, this is not a fucking sprint. And this kind of goes
not.
back to, you can't be scared to turn away the job tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Being a designer, being a graphic designer, it's a fucking marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You can't expect to do this all today, right? Like, honestly, you've got to be able to take what you learn and go the distance.
Yeah.
Because that's, out the gate, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're going to charge less.
Yep.
You're going to lose some shit on the table. But
We've
you
all
gotta
done
be-
this.
We've all done
Yeah.
this. You
Yeah.
got to be willing to go the distance.
Yeah.
Man, and when you do, like, honestly, then it's like work doesn't feel like work. It feels fun. We have our shitty days, but at the same time, we're not working crazy hours. We've got an
Exactly.
awesome environment. You can
Exactly.
choose this later on.
Yeah.
Right? It's long term.
Yeah.
It's long term.
It totally is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. This is such a good benchmark for everybody to kind of base their
I think so.
their the way they price things.
I think
you know what I
so,
mean. Like,
dude.
this is very cool.
I
Very
think so.
cool.
Well, it's important, right? It's the
Yes,
kind of
it
shit that
really is.
I don't think we were
And
talking
I
about
think
it enough.
That's what I was saying. Is like I'm trying to say, I have had too much to drink, but but yeah, we really don't focus on the pricing aspect.
We
of
don't.
Stuff
We don't focus on
enough.
the business side
Yes,
enough.
on the business side of things. Yeah.
And that's why things need to change a little bit, right?
This is true. This is true. That's why us bearded guys are here.
Hell yeah! Hey, for the record, Anybody has any fucking questions, hit us up on our Instagram.
Yes.
Honestly, hit us up on our Instagram. We've got an awesome group of people. I fucking love the people that we fucking talk to. We joke with, we laugh. You know what? And, sometimes it takes days to get back to us or even a week, but we get back to everybody. But honestly, you got questions, fucking hit us up.
Yeah.
I will hit you up. If we have to, we'll get on a fucking voice call. We'll talk in person.
We will. We'd totally
this is
do
so
that.
fun. Honestly, it was a great conversation I had with people. Don't be scared to reach out. And of course, don't be scared to give us a review.
Yes.
Right?
Please.
If you find that you actually learned some shit from here, fucking do us a favor.
Yes.
And leave us a review. Tell your friends. Fucking get us. We gotta get a word out, man. We gotta spread the gospel of the graphic design.
We really do. Like I was so heartened by that person that you were talking about used our information from the interview process
and she got
and
like
nailed the
more
job.
money than she has
Like,
making.
That's
That's fucking cool shit.
Awesome.
Holy
shit.
I don't want any gratitude. That just makes me feel that like, fuck, good.
Yes.
Somebody could take my advice.
Yes.
Right?
Well, this is exactly it. And you could take my advice or our advice and you could take it and you could either use it or you could be like, whatever.
Whatever. But the reality is for her, it worked out.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, dude, like if you got one small thing out of this, I hope that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Right? Literally, if that's all that matters for
Yes.
this, right?
Yeah.
Like just be better. We want to help designers be longer, survive, thrive.
Yes.
Right? This is a fucking frustrating industry.
It is.
And
It
I don't
really
know
is.
how many industries go through this kind of thing because we're dealing with so much.
Yeah.
And, as creatives, we're too empathetic.
Yeah.
We feel so fucking much.
Yeah.
That it's like, we need some sort of we need some vent.
Yes.
That's what we do.
Yes.
That's what we do. We vent for you.
We supply.
So, by all means, hit us up on Instagram. Give us high fives. Drop us a note. Leave us a review. By all means, let us know how much you love or hate the shit that we say. And please put it on Apple Podcasts, put it on Spotify, put it on Google, whatever you want, wherever you listen to us. Let us know, share us. By all means, we're here to talk. And if you've got topics you want us to cover, there's going to be some really cool shit in the next couple of weeks because we've gotten some really good, suggestions on people.
Really?
Oh, dude. Like,
Ooh.
yeah. Let me just say, AI is making a comeback.
What?
And I think we'll be talking about that in the near future. I know, some pretty scary shit.
Uh-oh.
I know.
Put up your dukes.
I know, right? Fucking Terminator bullshit,
AI.
Skynet.
No, ain't no robot.
We'll get you some Skynet. We'll show you.
We'll be back.
Oh my God, that was so perfect. Holy, what a great ending. My name is Massimo.
And my name is Sean.
Stay creative.
And stay angry.